I feel like Beauty from Beauty and the Beast, nestled in all this shrubbery. You know, that little story tale back in the day, and it's like a maze in the garden. Well, this is how this house sits behind me, and I'm nestled in the garden. This house is actually a cottage. Feels like a cottage, looks like a cottage, and was built by Patrick Stanigar, architect, back in the 1980s. It's actually on the higher level ground, and I'm on the lower level. And one of the reasons was because there's a river that runs through the property, which you'd see in a moment. Anyway, please stay with me. Don't go away. We're going to view this cottage, one bedroom house. Very small, very simple. Stay tuned to House Proud. I'm Nadia. See you when you come back. It's time of rainy season, so the rain's coming down on me. But guess what? We're going to go inside right this minute because I don't want to get wet. And then I'll tell you a little more about the history behind the cottage. Follow me. The rain's coming down really pretty heavy now. Okay, so we're in the veranda, right? And the cottage is actually just a one-bedroom house. It was built for Patrick Stanigar's cousin to be an artist, happens to be an artist / potter. What can we find in the veranda? Well, one of the cute things that I like is this multi-purpose seating area or display unit. And you'll notice pieces of pottery, which, well, they were done by Marguerite Stanigar, the artist / potter. And I'm standing right next to a 4-seater round table glass top wrought iron. Actually, the homeowners prefer to eat outside than inside. A little bit cooler, I guess. And then we have also in the veranda this, it's actually made out of metal, and it's like a rocking chair almost. On springs, very comfortable. You can sleep nicely in the evenings when you come home from work. And just a simple wicker coffee table with a glass on top. Here we have really unusual doors / windows. They're not your typical doors because they're definitely not the size of a typical door. And one of the good things is when it's closed, you can't even see the grill work because they've cut it in such a way that it fits into the body of the glass panes in the doors. The tiles that are throughout the house are actually cement, traditional old cement tiles. Are you ready to go inside? I'm ready to go inside. Follow me. Oh, wait. Wrong door. Welcome to my house. So we're into the living room, and it houses a 3-piece bamboo set with a coffee table in the center. This is a John Benjamin's piece. The ceiling is wooden rafters. Not sure why Patrick did it this way, because if you were to take the ceiling out and put it on a vertical or a horizontal, it looked like a bookshelf. Remember, I also told you that this house was originally built for the potter. So shelving was built above each window in the living room to allow to display some of her pieces. It's a very small area. So from the living room, right across is our kitchen. Simple, very, very simple. And a cute little spice rack right above the stove so you can see your spices, you know, when you're cooking whatever you're cooking. At the window, right by the sink, this is to the back of the house, and this is actually the wash area. Houses the washing machine and dryer, which is unique because of all the houses that we've done thus far. Everybody's wash area has been inside the house, but we'll show you that later on. And check these out. Frosted glass panes. It stores, I'll take a peek, all mugs and that kind of thing, glasses, but this is what I like the most, the little inlay again. And it complements the blue on the window in the middle. Cute. To the right of the kitchen, we have bamboo. This is so cute. Breakfast table just for two. And a bay window right above or the side of the table and chairs. And the unique thing about this bay window, when the windows are open, if it rains, you don't have to close it because it's sheltered by the roofing on the outside. So follow me now. We're going to go to the room where she used to make all of the pottery. Look at this. This is also one of Marguerite's pieces. And we have an antique cabinet here which houses the liquor. Every house we go to has liquor. Come on, let me show you where the pottery used to be made. Right in here. Well, it was changed to create a second bedroom in the house. But this is where all Marguerite's pottery, ceramic stuff, you know, this was her studio. So the roofing again is the same. We're gonna ask Patrick why he built this bookshelf in the ceiling. As well as you'd notice, on the outside of the house, the finish of the masonry work is raw, but on the inside, it's painted white, but you still see that raw effect, the actual bricks laid one by one. Again, some bamboo pieces of furniture. I like bamboo. And it's used actually as a guest room as well as an office for the homeowner. And off of the guest room, it has its own bathroom. One of the cute things I like about this little bathroom is the way Patrick designed the cupboards below the sink. They open out, so you get the entire cupboard underneath to use. You know, you don't hitch up too much. Cool. Great stuff. A little shower on this side. This is such a cute little house. Stay tuned, because when we come back, I'll take you upstairs and show you the master bedroom, and then meet Patrick Stanigar, the architect responsible for designing the house. Before we actually see the master bedroom, just a couple things I want to show you just as I'm standing here. This was not a deliberate act by Patrick Stanigar, but Marguerite used the indentations in the masonry, even on the stairwell, to display also some of her artwork. The stairwell, as we speak, the staircase is made of a local wood called Spanish elm. And check this out. This curve is just so cool. And then the curve on the, I guess what you'd say, this comes like the handle, I don't know, the railing almost to hold on to when you're climbing the stairs, is complemented by the curvature at the bottom 3 steps. All hand done, and neatly too. This is so cute. Again, to display the artwork. It's all about the pottery in this house. Well, it's about time you got upstairs. This is the master bedroom. Quite spacious. And one of the cute things about it is this room was originally supposed to have been 2 separate rooms. And this is the marker for that. Apparently, Marguerite would use one side to do her artwork and paintings and stuff upstairs, and also sleep on the same floor. But what they've done is left an open space. We have bamboo bed, which is also part of the set from the living room downstairs, a John Benjamin piece. And gosh, yes, we always need in Jamaica a net for those wonderful mosquitoes. Way cool trunk. All antiques. Things have been handed down in the family. A lot of cupboard spaces, eh? You got one side for the husband and the other side for the wife. This is another antique, a little dresser. I don't know how far back it goes, but solid. There's nothing more than a solid piece of wood. And a wicker basket. Well, or vase, or don't know. And you have a beautiful view from one of the windows, and this is actually facing the back of the house. The tree that we see here is a lignum vitae tree. As I stand here, one of the things we gotta ask Patrick is, why build right by the window? This indentation is like a cave almost by the window with a light. So I guess for some reflection purposes at night, you know, it'll illuminate the entire room or by the window. We'll find out when Patrick comes. Another feature I want to show you, and there's a purpose behind Patrick's madness, is the ventilation hole, that round hole in this triangular framework. And when we go outside, you'd see it, what it looks like from the outside, because you don't see this round circular hole just staring you in the face. And also, the homeowners love to read, hardworking people, so they need an area for storing their books, etc. Does this remind you of anything? Yes, it does. The ceiling downstairs. Again, another one of these. Hey, maybe I could put my face here. You think they'd like my face to show off? No, I don't think so. Follow me to the master bathroom now. Again, one of these funky cupboards. It's so cute. Look at this. Round. I don't know. It's like a dial or something. You know. Well, we do have to meet Patrick Stanigar next. But did I tell you about the shutters? These cute little shutters are on the inside, and then you have the grill work and the other kind of French windows on the outside. Cute concept. Well, let's not wait any longer, because Patrick's waiting on me. Come on. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching Housebrow. Help me welcome now the architect responsible for this wonderful cottage, Mr. Patrick Stanigar. Hi, Patrick.
Hi, how are you?
How are you? Fine. Thanks for coming. You're such a busy guy. He's such a busy guy, folks. Hard to pin him down, you know. Patrick, the masonry work on the outside of the house, was it deliberate for the image of the house? Because I keep calling it a cottage. Is it a cottage at that?
Well, I think that the idea of it being a cottage comes from the shape of the house rather than the materials themselves, and I think the kind of shingle roof and some of the details like the dormers. But the masonry doesn't have specifically to do with this house. It is something that interests me. The whole idea of using standard building materials that people are used to, but using them in a way that shows their nature and the qualities of the workmen that work on them. So that's really what you're seeing there. It sort of enriches the whole sense of the house.
Well, I mean, one of my favorites is that rustic kind of vibe, and that cottage you feel is quite cozy on the inside. Very small, and simple, but very effective. And there are a couple of things that I want to ask you, which to me obviously are relevant to the architecture. The belly underneath in the veranda, in the ceiling. Why create that stomach? Normally you would see a slant or that kind of roofing.
Well, there is a theme, a kind of sub-theme within the house, within the details. You'll see it from the front gate to that curve, to the actual curve of the roof that you see there. It all actually started with the curve of the roof, the joint between the eave and the veranda. But that curvature was meant to play off against the sort of harshness, not harshness, really the masculinity of the masonry, because those are sort of very feminine shapes that you're talking about.
Right.
And it's a kind of thing that interested me.
The stairwell. As soon as I enter the door, there's this massive belly, you know, or what do you call it? Concave, convex? Can't remember now. Of the stairwell. So the railing is actually curved like that. The stair bottoms. I think, as you say, the curvature is throughout the house. You see bits and pieces.
Yeah, you feel it. It is something else that affects you in your appreciation of the thing, and so that the things are harder, that are more hard-lined, you feel as harder, and the things when you contrast it, it sort of amplifies each of the different things. But I think you can see the croaking lizard in it.
On the first floor, the ceiling underneath, normally those kinds of rafters is just, if I could remember correctly, in homes that I've gone to, it's just quite solid. But you created little beams, little inserts that if you were to take the ceiling and put it on a horizontal, it'll look like a bookshelf. Is there a reason behind doing that?
Well, what I've done there is dramatize and make into a feature of the place really standard construction. To stiffen a floor, or to stiffen what they call the joists in the floor, you refer to them as beams, you normally put what is called blocking between them. And you can see that this would tend to stiffen or counteract the tendency of the beam to wobble to one side or the other. And when you're walking upstairs, you don't get that vibration and that insecurity that
amongst
you feel.
other things upstairs.
Yeah.
As we mentioned, the master bedroom, it resembles a loft to me, and it's up in the roof, and we had done a house previously like that. Your use of shapes, the triangular shapes, like the beam that actually told me that's what actually holds the house together. And by the windows, however, I noticed that you have like an envelope almost at each window. What was that done for? How?
Well, that is the natural outcome of the dormer windows on the outside. Well, we're using what normally be the attic space of the house, and or the loft space in a barn, for instance, to live in, for people to stand up close to the edge, because the roof is going down towards the floor. In this house, it doesn't go all the way down. If you want to be able to look out, or if you want to be able to stand up closer to the corners, you have a traditional detail. It's called a dormer, which are those things that you see on the outside of the house. And in fact, all you're doing is seeing the inside of that same shape. Of course, because it's inside, it looks very, very different. And I don't even think you really recognized that it was the inside of this thing that you're so used to seeing on the outside of buildings.
Patrick, I mentioned that the holes that were in the roofing and also in the master loft, that they were for ventilation. Is that so?
Yeah, well, there are two types that you're looking at. There's some very small ones which are underneath the eaves of the house, and they ventilate the roof space because, frankly, heat builds up in those enclosed spaces in houses, and actually fires start if you don't ventilate them. So that's what the small ones are. The big ones are, again, my version of a ventilation system in a traditional house. You see, if you look at the outside of the house, a sort of, again, that curlicue in the timber.
It's actually hidden.
Yes.
Camouflaged, you know, with some
it's a way
fretwork.
of allowing the air in, and, well, actually heat builds up in the top of a high roof like that, so you want to be able to let it out of the roof at its highest point. So that's really what that's all about. But again, these are all things that we have, but in this case, attention is drawn to them, and they're done in a way that creates an architecture.
Tell me a bit about the cupboards in the kitchen. I know they hold a special place in your heart.
Well, I'm fond of them because, well, I designed them, meaning I didn't buy standard kitchen cupboards. I enjoyed the business of figuring out ways to like make the handles without
actually having
without
a
having
handle.
to buy a handle, so that you touched the wood. Again, there's those curves again in those handles on a very small, that's kind of subliminal level. It is meant to be a theme. And it's more a musical thing than what you would think of in architecture.
Patrick, you've been in this business for so long. Are there any tips out there that you can give to a homeowner or a fellow architect on the necessities first before even constructing the home?
Well, I would give the big tip that I know from myself, from my own home, that houses cost a lot of money because they're built out of a lot of materials. So the big tip is to be small. I think that's the first step, to build something manageable and then add on.
Right.
The other tip is to remember that houses have lives, and just like the people that are in them have lives, and the needs of those people change. The sizes of family change. As you get older, you don't want to go upstairs anymore.
That's
All of
right,
those
yeah.
things.
Well, Patrick, well done. Beautiful house, simple but effective, and you use just basic raw materials. I like it very much. Thank you so much for coming on House Proud. It would not have been possible without you and your creation.
Thank you. You're very welcome.
Well, folks, it's that time of... I gotta go. Yeah, I know. Don't cry. I'll be back next week for sure. Until then, may God bless your home and you. Bye. Hi, I'm Nadia. Join me on the next edition of House Proud, where we feature a creation by Patrick Stanigar. See you then.